Hello students, I'm Sai over here. So in the previous class, I have discussed the solutions for the questions 1 to 16 in the assignment in rotational, in the first assignment in rotational motion. Now I'd like to continue the discussion of the solutions for the remaining questions in the assignment in rotational motion. So look at the question number 17 on the screen, which I already shown to you earlier. So I am now going to discuss the solution for this problem. So I am going to read out the problem now. The moment of inertia of a meter scale of mass 0.6 kg about an axis perpendicular to the scale located at the 20 centimeter position on the scale in kg meter square is breadth of the scale is negligible. So it's a meter scale, so it understood the total length of the scale is 1 meter or 100 centimeter. Let's see with the center of the scale or coincide center of mass of the scale. Let A be the point on the scale at 20 centimeter mark. This is the 0 of the scale. You start from left hand. Suppose the point A is the 20 centimeter mark on the scale, that is 20 centimeter from the left hand. See the center of the scale, which is at a distance of total length of scale is 1 meter or 100 centimeter. So distance from center of the scale to one of the ends will be 50 centimeter. Let H be the perpendicular distance between the points A and C. We are asked to find the moment of inertia of the scale about this axis passing through the point A and perpendicular length of the scale. Let I be the moment of inertia of the scale about the axis passing through the point A, that is 20 centimeter position on the scale, which is perpendicular to the length of scale. So now we can observe from the figure, let O be the left end of scale which coincides with 0 centimeter mark. H is the perpendicular distance between A and C, that you can write distance from O to C minus O to A. That is 50 centimeter minus 20 centimeter, 30 centimeter. That means we are going to solve the problem by the parallel axis theorem. Let ICM denote the moment of inertia of the scale about the axis passing through center of mass of the scale and perpendicular length of scale. That means the two axes passing through the points A and C are parallel to each other, and perpendicular distance between the two axes 30 centimeters or 0.3 meters. Now, according to the parallel axis theorem, the moment of inertia of rigid body about any axis can be written as equal to its moment of inertia about the parallel axis passing through its center of mass plus product of the mass of the body and the square of the perpendicular distance h between the two axes. So the moment of inertia of thin uniform scale or rod of mass m about the axis passing through the midpoint and perpendicular to its length. That is moment of inertia thin uniform rod or stick or scale of mass m and length l about the axis passing through its center of mass and perpendicular length of scale, given by ml square by 12. Now we can substitute here mass of the scale equal to 0.6 kg, length L of scale is 1 meter because it is a meter scale here. So you can substitute these values in this equation and simplify it. You can substitute m equal to 0.6 kg and L equal to 1 meter and H equal to 0.3 meter. Can try to simplify it yourself. So those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of this problem. Can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So you get the answer as 0.104 kg meter square. So for the question number 17, which I have just discussed, second option will be the answer. You see the next question, question number 18. Circular disc of radius r and thickness r by 6 has moment of inertia I about an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane. It is melted and recasted into a solid sphere. The moment of inertia sphere about its diameter or axis of rotation is. So you have to find the moment, you are asked to find the moment of inertia sphere in terms of I, that is the moment of inertia of circular disc. So when the disc is melted and reshaped into the form of a sphere, the mass will remain the same. So mass of the sphere formed after the melting of the disc and after reshaping is same as the mass of the disc, and let I denote the m denote the mass of the body in each case. Mass of the disc sphere, you can write volume of sphere into density of the material of sphere. The density can be assumed to be constant for the given material. So density rho of the sphere can be taken to be same as the density of the circular disc. So volume of sphere equal to 4/3 pi rs cube, where rs r subscript s represents the radius of sphere. Mass of the disc can be written as volume of the disc into density. So volume of the circular disc can be written as product of its space area and thickness. So if T is the thickness of the disc, in general R is the radius of the disc, then volume of the disc you can write face area of the disc, that is pi r square into thickness T. That is the same formula which we use for volume of solid cylinder, pi r square L. Instead of L we have taken thickness T into density rho. So you can, given that thickness T is equal to r by 6. So you can simplify this. So you can solve for the radius of sphere, rho is the density that gets cancelled. That means we can equate the volume of sphere with the volume of the disk. So therefore, cube of the radius of sphere, you can write pi r square into thickness T of the disk, you can write r by 6. Into 3 by 4 pi. So you get rs cube equal to r cube by 8. Or you can write r by 2 whole cube. So if we take cube root here, you can write radius of sphere to be equal to r by 2. Let I dash be the moment of inertia of sphere about one of its diameters, and I is used to denote the moment of inertia of circular disk about its central axis of symmetry, that is about the axis passing through the center of the disk and perpendicular to the plane of the disk. Here I is the moment of inertia of circular disk about the axis passing through its center and perpendicular plane of the disk, which is given by mr square by 2. I dash is the moment of inertia of the sphere about one of its diameters, which you can write 2 by 5 times m into the square of the radius of sphere. So you can cancel m here. Mass of sphere is same as the mass of disk here. So radius of sphere you can write r by 2. So 4 by 5 into r by 2. So you get I dash by I equal to 1 by 5. So those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for question number 18, third option is answer, I by 5. So then next see the question, next question number 19. Two uniform circular discs of same material, same thickness, and at the same temperature have radii in the ratio 2:3. The ratio of their moments of inertia about central axis is. So its thickness is given to be the same. Ratio of the radius of the first disk and second disk is 2:3. Let R1 denote the radius of first disk and R2 denote the radius of second disk. So in general, if T is the thickness, and R is the radius of the disk, then mass of the disk you can write volume of the disk multiplied by the density of the material of the disk. Volume of the disk you can write face area into thickness. Face area of the disk is pi r square. T is the thickness. Let rho be the density. So moment of inertia of the circular disk about its central axis of symmetry is given by I equal to mr square by 2. So I can write m equal to pi r square T into rho. So moment of inertia of uniform circular disk about its central axis symmetry in terms of thickness T, density rho, and radius r can be written as pi T into rho by 2 into r power 4. So moment of inertia of the first circular disk about its central axis symmetry denoted by I1. That you can write pi t into rho by 2 into R1 power 4. Moment of inertia of second circular disk about its central axis symmetry can write pi t rho by 2 into R2 power 4. Here R1 is the radius of the first circular disk and R2 is the radius of the second circular disk. According to the problem, both the circular disks have same thickness T. And both the circular disks are made up of same material and they are at same temperature. Therefore, density rho will be the same for both the circular disks. So you can write I1 by I2 equal to R1 by R2 whole power 4. And write R1 is to R2 is given to be 2 is to 3. So R1 by R2 you can write 2 by 3. So you get I1 by I2 equal to 16 by 81. So those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for question number 19, which I have just discussed, the second option will be the answer. Then see the question number 20. The radius of gyration of a solid sphere of radius r about a certain axis is r. The distance of this axis from center of sphere is. So we'll apply parallax theorem here. Let I be the moment of inertia of the sphere about this given axis, about the certain axis where k equal to r. K is the radius of gyration. Let ICM denote the moment of inertia of sphere about the parallel axis passing through its center of mass. Let's see the center of mass of sphere. Let h be the perpendicular distance between the two axes. So the left side I have shown this axis, I have marked tick. This represents the axis about which the sphere has radius of gyration, k equal to r. That means the radius of gyration of sphere about this axis on the left side, same as the radius of sphere. You have to find distance of this axis from center of sphere. Let h denote the perpendicular distance between the axis on the left side from center of sphere. According to the parallax theorem, moment of inertia of a rigid body about any axis can be written as its moment of inertia about the parallel axis passing through its center of mass plus product of the mass of the body and square of the perpendicular distance between the two axes. Moment of inertia of rigid body about a given axis can be written in the form I equal to mk square, where m is the total mass of the rigid body and k is the radius of gyration of the rigid body about that axis. So radius of gyration of the rigid body about the axis on the left side is given to be equal to r. So I can write k equal to r or I equal to mr square on the left hand side of the equation. As you know, moment of inertia of uniform solid sphere about any axis passing through its center of mass is given by 2 by 5 mr square. So the second term on the right side mh square I am writing as it is. So those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So if you simplify this result, you get the answer as r into root of 0.6. Erase this. So for question number 20, answer will be r into root of 0.6, that is third option. That is understood that r is outside the root symbol here. So next, see the question number 21. You please read the question yourself. I have already discussed this model in the previous class, that is the same assignment. Please go through the solution I have discussed for question number 15. See the solution of the question number 15 which I have discussed in my previous class in the same assignment. Same procedure as it is to be repeated. Instead of A, you are given P. Instead of B, you are given Q. Moment of inertia of Q by moment of inertia of P can be written as radius of Q by radius of P whole cube. The moment of inertia of Q, same procedure, is 8 times the moment of inertia of P. And radius of Q is NR and radius of P is R. So you get R N cube equal to 2 cube or N equal to 2. That is exactly it is same model, only language used is different. I have intentionally repeated this question model because it was asked twice in the MSET. Question number 15 was given in one of the previous MSET exam papers, as I told you earlier. Even this question is also given in one of the previous MSET exam papers. So for question number 21, fourth option will be the answer. Next, you see the question number 22. The moment of inertia in uniform rod of mass m and length L about an axis perpendicular to the rod and passing through center is x. The moment of inertia of the rod about an axis perpendicular rod through its end point. As discussed earlier from the parallel axis theorem, let I denote the moment of inertia of the rod about the axis passing through one of the ends and perpendicular to length, and ICM denote the moment of inertia of the rod about the axis perpendicular to length and passing through center of mass. The perpendicular distance h between the two axes is L by 2. So from parallax theorem, I already explained you this calculation in the theory part. I equal ICM plus mh square. So moment of inertia of the rod about the axis passing through its center of mass given by ml square by 12. Moment of inertia of the rod about the axis passing through its center of mass and perpendicular length of the rod will be ml square by 12. H equal to L by 2. So if you simplify this here, they already explained, you get I equal to ml square by 3. So if you divide I with I subscript Cm, so you get ml square by 3 into 12 by ml square or 4. So that means the moment of inertia of the rod about the axis passing through one of the ends and perpendicular to its length. 4 times the moment of inertia about the axis passing through center of mass and perpendicular length. Or you can write I equal to 4x because ICM is given to be equal to x here. Moment of inertia about the axis passing through center of mass and perpendicular length is denoted by x. So answer is 4x. So for question number 22, fourth option is the answer. See the question number 23. 4 solid spheres each of radius r and mass m are placed with their centers on the 4 corner square of side L. The moment of inertia of the arrangement about any side of the square is number these two spheres here, all the four spheres by 1, 2, 3, 4. You're asked to find moment of inertia of the center of the four sphere about an axis which coincides with one of the sides of the square. Let us suppose the axis is passing through center of mass of first sphere and center of mass of second sphere. That means the axis is coinciding with one of the sides of square that passes through center of the first sphere and center of second sphere. So for first and second sphere, the axis is passing through its center of mass. For third and fourth spheres, the axis is at a perpendicular distance h equal to L from its center of mass. That means for third sphere, the axis is at a perpendicular distance h equal to L from center of mass of third sphere. The axis about which point of inertia is required is also at a distance h equal to L from center of the mass of fourth sphere. Then you can write I2 and I1 both are equal because for first two spheres the axis coincides with one of the diameters. So moment of inertia of uniform solid sphere of mass n about a diameter given by 2 by 5 r square. For fourth and third spheres, we can apply the parallax theorem. I4 is same as I3. I4 is the moment of inertia of fourth sphere. I3 is the moment of inertia of third sphere about this axis. That can be done moment of inertia over the parallel axis passing through its own center of mass of the third sphere plus product of the mass of sphere and sphere of the perpendicular distance h. Moment of inertia of uniform solid sphere about its any axis passing through center of mass, you can write 2 by 5 r square. Here h equal to L. So total moment of inertia system of the four spheres will be equal to sum of the moments of inertia of the individual spheres. So you can substitute here I2 equal I1 and I4 equal I3. So I can be equal to I1 plus 2 I3. I can substitute the values of I1 and I3 and simplify. You'll get this answer. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for question number 23, third option is the answer. Then see the question number 24. A thin uniform rod AB of mass m and length L is hinged at one end A to the level floor. Initially stands vertically and is allowed to fall freely to the floor in the vertical plane. The angular velocity of the rod when its end B strikes the floor and end A does not slide is. So the rod is released from rest from the vertical position. Therefore, the center of mass of the rod will be at a distance equal to, assuming that the rod is uniform, at height equal L by 2 from the lower end A. Let's see denote the position of center of mass of the rod in the vertical position. When the rod is allowed to fall, the rod in this case performs rotational motion about the axis passing through its lower end A. Let omega denote the angular speed of the rod at the instant just before it strikes the floor. As the rod is allowed to fall, its gravitational potential energy decreases. At the same time, kinetic energy of the rod increases. Because no work is done by friction and other non-conservative forces, you can assume that total mechanical of the rod remains constant during the motion in the vertical plane under influence of gravity. So we can assume gravitational potential of the rod to be 0 at the ground level. Supplying conservative energy, you can write increase in the kinetic energy of the rod at the instant just before it strikes the floor can be equated to the decrease in the gravitational potential energy of the rod. So increase in the kinetic energy of the rod is equal to final kinetic energy of the rod at the instant just before it strikes the floor minus initial kinetic energy of the rod in the vertical position. Decrease the gravitational potential energy to mg, the vertical height to which center of mass of the rod falls through. The rod is released from rest from the vertical position, so initial kinetic energy of the rod in the vertical position is negligible or can take it as 0. The vertical height to the center of mass of the rod falls will be L by 2. Therefore, final kinetic energy of the rod at the instant just before it strikes the floor can write half mgl. The kinetic energy of rigid body performing pure rotational motion about an axis is given by the formula of I omega square. So final kinetic energy of the rod at the instant just before the rod strikes the floor can write half I omega square. And omega is the angular speed of the rod at that instant just before it strikes the floor. And I is the moment of inertia of the rod about the axis passing through its lower end perpendicular length. That discussed earlier, moment of inertia of thin uniform rod about the axis perpendicular to its length and passing through one of its ends is given by I equal ml square by 3. So from this equation you can write omega square equal to GL by MGL by I. So I can substitute I equal to ml square by 3. So you get omega square equal to 3g by L, or omega is root of 3g by L. So those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for question number 24, fourth option is the answer. See the question number 25, which I have discussed in the theory part actually. The moment of inertia of cylinder about the axis of symmetry is equal to the moment of inertia about the axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its length. The ratio of its length to radius is. So moment of inertia of the uniform solid cylinder about its axis of symmetry is given by I equal mr square by 2. Moment of inertia of uniform solid cylinder about the axis passing through the center of mass of cylinder and perpendicular to its length is given by m into r square by 4 plus L square by 12, where L is the length of cylinder and R is the radius of cylinder. So given that these two are equal, so moment of inertia about the axis perpendicular to its length and passing through the center of mass of the cylinder is given by m into r square by 12 plus L square by m into r square by 4 plus L square by 12. That is given to the same as the moment of inertia about the geometrical axis symmetry, which is given by mr square by 2. So you can cancel here mass m both sides. So r square by 4 plus L square by 12 is r square by 2. So you can solve for L from this equation. So you get L square by 12 equal to r square by 4. L square equal 12R square by 4. Or you get L equal to L square 3R square. Or L by R equal to root 3. So for question number 25, first option is answer. See the question number 26. The moment of inertia of any form solid cylinder about its geometrical axis 8 units. The moment of inertia about the axis tangential to one of plane circular faces. That is about diameter of circular bases. Length of cylinder is 3 times its radius. Moment of inertia of uniform solid cylinder about its geometrical axis gain of mr square by 2, which is equal to 8 units. So you get mr square equal to 2 into 8. Or you can write mr square equal to 16 units. So you have to find the moment of inertia of the cylinder about the axis passing through one of the circular faces, plane circular faces, and coincide with one of the diameter of circular base. I denote the moment of inertia about the required axis, about this axis which is passing through, which is one of the ends, that means which is coinciding with diameter of one of circular bases or tangential to one of the plane circular faces. Let ICM denote the moment of inertia about the perpendicular axis passing through center of mass cylinder. So perpendicular distance h between the two axes is equal to half of the length of cylinder. So moment of inertia about the axis passing through center of mass of cylinder perpendicular to its length is given by m into L square by 12 plus R square by 4. Here it is given that length of cylinder is 3 times its radius. So you can write L equal to 3R. This you can try to simplify this further. So you get moment of inertia about the axis passing through its center of mass and perpendicular length. You will get mr square. According to the perpendicular parallax theorem, moment of inertia I about the required axis can be written as moment of inertia about the parallel axis passing through its center of mass plus product of the mass of the body and square of the perpendicular distance h between the two axes. Here h can be written as L by 2. That is half of the length of cylinder. But length of cylinder given to 3 times the radius. So h can be 3R by 2. So ICM equal to mr square here plus m into 3R by 2 whole square. So this you can simplify it further. You can take mr square common outside. So you get I equal to 13 by 4 into mr square. So you can write mr square equal to 16 units here. So if you simplify this, you get it as 13 into 4 units or 52 units is the answer. So for question number 26, first option is the answer. See the question number 27. A uniform disk of radius r lies in xy plane with a center at the origin. Let O be the center of the disk which lies at the origin of coordinate system. OX is x-axis. OY is the y-axis. So I have finished about the line x equal to r and y equal to 0. Y equal to 0 for xz plane. I'm sorry, y equal to 0 for xz plane. That means for this point A. Here r is the radius of the disk. Let A be the point on the x-axis, which is situated distance 2r from the origin. So for the axis perpendicular plane of the diagram passing through the point A. For the axis perpendicular plane of the figure and passing through the point A, you can take y as 0 and x equal to r. That means the axis is parallel to z-axis. The axis passing through the point A is parallel to the axis and perpendicular to the length the x-axis passing through the point A. And IA denotes the point of inertia about this axis passing through point A. That is same as the point of inertia about the axis y equal to z equal to 0. Z equal to 0 for any axis which lies in xy plane. So z equal to 0 and y equal to d. Represent this particular axis passing through the point B. At IB denotes the moment of inertia about the axis passing through the point B. Now moment of inertia about the axis passing through the point A. That means IA is the moment of inertia about the axis passing through the point A. Parallel to that axis. Parallel to that axis and passing through the point A, or you can say parallel to YZ plane. You got a moment of inertia about the parallel axis passing through its center of mass plus product of the mass of the body and square of the perpendicular distance h between the two axes. The first axis passing through point A is parallel to the central axis symmetry. The perpendicular distance h between the two axes is equal to 2r. Moment of inertia of uniform circular disc about its central axis symmetry is given by mr square by 2. So this you get 9 mr square by 2. Let IB denote the moment of inertia about this axis parallel to x-axis about the line y equal to d in the xy plane, and then z is 0. So this second axis passing through the point B is parallel to one of the diameters. So moment of inertia about the second axis passing through the point B is equal again applying parallax theorem. Moment of inertia about the parallel axis passing through its center of mass means moment of parallel axis. The axis parallel to the second axis passing through the point B and passing through the center of mass of the disk will coincide with x-axis. That means it will coincide with one of the diameters of the disk. Plus product of the mass of the body and square of the perpendicular distance d between the two axes. Moment of inertia of uniform circular disc about a diameter will be half of its moment of inertia about central axis symmetry. That is the second axis passing through the point B, which lies in the xy plane and which is parallel to x-axis, will be parallel to one of the diameters of the disc. That means here ICM means you should take point of inertia about the diameter of the disc to find IB. So moment of inertia about central axis symmetry can write mr square by 2. So you can equate IB with IA according to the data in the problem. So you get mr square by 4 plus md square. 9 mr square by 2. So if those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. And complete the simplification. So for question number 27, second option will be the answer. Then you see the question number 28. From a disk of radius r, a concentric circular portion of radius small r is cut out so as to leave an annular disk of mass capital M. The moment of inertia of this annular disk about the axis perpendicular to plane and passing through the center of gravity is given by. You have to, actually it is a result which you are expected to remember, where you get the second option as answer. M by 2 into r square minus small r square. So here you can say, if you want to prove this result also it can be proved, but I advise you to remember plus. I think you get plus. I mean first option will be the answer, not the second option. The calculation can be done like this. So mass of the original disk without any cut are denoted by suppose MD. That you can write volume of the disk into density. Volume of the disk you can write by r square into thickness. The density rho. So now given disk has a small cut of radius small r. So mass of the given disk you can write mass of the disk of radius capital R minus mass of the disk of radius small r which is removed. So you can take pi t rho common outside, capital R square minus small r square. So mass of the annular disk. So mass of this annular disk means the disk which has a small cut. That means circular disk of radius capital R in which a small circular portion of radius small r is removed. We call it as annular disk. So moment of inertia of the remaining disk or annular disk is equal to moment of inertia of the whole disk without any cut. That is the mass of the original disk into r square by 2 minus mass of the smaller disk removed. Mass of smaller disk removed, let us denote by small a. Small m into r square by 2. So you can express here MD in terms of M from these two equations. If you divide MD with M, you get capital R square by capital R square minus small r square. And small m by MD. Small m is the mass of small circular disk which is removed. That is pi into small r square into 2 into rho by pi into capital R square into T into rho. That is small r square by MD. So you can write MD into R square by 2. Small m can be written as from this equation. Cap m mass of the original disk into small r square by capital R square. Into small r square. Again, MD can be written in terms of capital M. Can take MD common outside here by 2. So capital R square minus small r power 4 by capital R square. Now I can substitute MD equal to from this equation capital M into R square by capital R square minus small r square into capital R power 4 minus small r power 4 by capital R square. Now we can write capital R power 4 minus small r power 4. You can write it as capital R square minus small r square into capital R square plus small r square. You can try to simplify it further. So moment of inertia is the annular disk. This you can write. The denominator r square gets cancelled. Those who want to copy the solution of the problem, please take a pause and copy the solution of the problem and finish writing up to here and complete the calculation by writing capital R power 4 minus small r power 4 equal to capital R square minus small r square multiplied by capital R square plus small r square. I will be continuing the discussion of. So I will be, once you finish copying the solution of this problem, I will be continuing the discussion of the remaining 2 questions, and I will be showing the next assignment also in my next class.